What's up, everybody? We've got a baseball takeover today. I stole the reins from the bosses. I told Steven he wasn't allowed in the chat today. No, not actually. But we are doing an MLB takeover today. We had to give Mackenzie a day off at some point, so I'm taking over today. Jake, let's bring you in. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm feeling good, especially after telling you yesterday. I got some money in my pocket.
Well, we did well yesterday, but a lot of playoffs still to go, so we'll see how that goes. But we've got a lot of plays for y'all today. We've got some futures. We're going to go over some game previews. We're going to give y'all some player props. We're going to give y'all a prize picks play. And then we'll throw up a recap screen at the end because I know there's a lot to get through and we've only got 20 minutes. So we'll get into it first. Jake, talk about your futures for me, please.
Yeah, so that should be Baltimore plus 290 to win the AL. Especially, I like it even more just watching yesterday. I was deciding whether to take it or not. I pulled the trigger after yesterday's games. Just watching the teams. All these teams have decimated pitching, and the Orioles aren't known for their pitching, but they just need the top three guys, and especially with John Means returning to full strength late in the season. I like that play a lot more now, and I think they're the best team in the AL right now. And I mean, Houston scares me, but I think Baltimore is the fan favorite. Everyone's going to be cheering for Baltimore. That's going to get them pumped up. So I like Baltimore, and their future is so bright. They have the number one farm system, and they're just such a good team right now. And then I like the Phillies, especially after yesterday. They took care of business. It's kind of like last year where the Phillies got fired in the postseason right at the right time, and the other teams have been dealing with injuries. The Braves pitching rotation is just decimated right now with Morton and Fried both dealing with finger problems. And the Phillies, their pitching is healthy finally for the first time in a while right now. It's the healthiest they've been all season. So I like the Phillies, giving them plus 500 on the Caesars compared to plus 400 on DK.
Yeah, and I'm definitely co-signing on both these plays. I've actually got futures on both of them to win the World Series. So I'm hoping that both of these hit as well. Completely agree with the Orioles. I think it's between the Orioles and the Astros in the AL. And I think the Orioles will obviously prevail there. And then the Phillies Braves, like you said, is a big series. I think Morton's out. I saw Fried pitched in the sim game in the midweek, but who knows how deep he can go if he starts. So that'll be interesting as well.
Those blisters are tricky because if the cut opens up, it's just so hard to feel your pitches. So, and if there's no Fried, Strider's been getting hit around a lot more lately than last year. So that it could be tough for Atlanta, but their offense is so good that it's hard to bet against them as well.
Yeah, and that'll be a nice segue into my playoff future that we're going to give. And if you remember last year, I mean, I'm sure you remember, Jake, but Spencer Strider had his playoff start. He came out and he was absolutely shelled. Like he got lit up. I don't think he made it through 2 or 3 innings, gave up like 6 or 7 runs. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was not a good start whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 innings, 6 runs.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So that brings us to my postseason future. I really like this NL East to win the World Series because I think it's going to be the Phillies that make it out on the NL. But if the Braves do win that series, I think it's easy. One of those teams is going to be the Dodgers. The Dodgers starting rotation right now is Clayton Kershaw, Bobby Miller, Lance Lynn, and Ryan Pepiot. That is as un-Dodgers-like as it gets. Usually that's their strength in the playoffs. So I really think that either the Phillies or Braves will get out of the NL. So that's kind of where we get the plus 200 here. And then once if one of them gets the World Series, they'll likely be favored. But that's what I like in the future here.
I like that play.
All right, we'll go into our game previews next. So we'll start with the first game, the Rays and the Rangers. So Jake, since you have a play on this game, we'll let you go first.
Yeah, I went with the Rays money line. I know it's gone back and forth between minus 140 and minus 160. You get it anywhere in between there. I saw Steven posted earlier it was minus 141 at Bet Rivers, and it bounced right back up. This is more fading Iafalli and just and playing Eflin. So Steven just wrote you get minus 142 right now. I played that at minus 142. I just think the Rays get a win today. Minus 140 on one bet. I don't mind the over here. I wanted to play John and I were both talking. We want to play the under, but you just can't. There's 2 pitchers who could get smacked around. I also have a player prop in this game that leans towards this money line play. So I like the Rays here.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this game. I was telling Jake all last night, all morning. I just can't get a read because the Rays last year in the playoffs, they scored 1 run in 2 games. They were shut out in one and they scored 1 run in the other. Yesterday, they didn't do much better. And that was mainly because they had all of their lefties out of the lineup. But Brandon Lou's hurt. He's not coming back. Luke Raley's hurt. He's not going to be in the lineup. So you really just have Josh Lau that you're adding. They didn't put Junior Caminero in the starting lineup tonight. He's the Rays' top prospect. So, yeah, he's young, but he's going to give you a spark. So I don't really understand that. So I'm really worried about the Rays just not being able to score today, as we've seen in the past from them. So I might end up on the Rangers, but I think the Rays are going to win. I just don't think that it's worth a -140. So I'm stumped on this one, Jake.
I was thinking maybe play each team over 2 runs in the same game parlay kind of action, and maybe with a player prop as well in that. I think that could be the play here, honestly.
Yeah, I don't mind that. We'll go to the next game here. We've got the Blue Jays Twins. We'll go time order. So Jake and I both have the same play here. We both like the under 8 runs. It was -108 on FanDuel yesterday. It's actually been bouncing around. I really thought it was going to get down to 7.5 everywhere, but it started going down in terms of the line, and then it went back up a little bit, but I still think you can find some 8s. But we saw yesterday, neither of these teams can really hit. Royce Lewis was the only one who produced RBIs for the Twins. The Blue Jays got 1 run, and that was on a 2-out single by Kevin Kiermaier. So neither of these teams are producing runs right now. There are a lot of cold hitters on both sides, and then we have 2 dominant pitchers in Sonny Gray and Jose Barrios. Sonny Gray, actually his first playoff start ever, I believe it was back in 2014, pitched 8 scoreless innings. So he definitely has the mental toughness to come in and pitch in this environment, possibly giving the Twins their first playoff series win in 19 years. And then Jose Barrios is facing his old team, and he didn't allow a run in 5 1/3, 5 2/3, I believe it was earlier this season to the Twins. So I think they'll both dominate. I think this game stays low scoring. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I love the under here. It was 7.5 DK at -115, and you get the same thing under 8 at -108 on FanDuel at the same time. So I really like the value you get there. Steven wrote in the chat, Barstool at 7.5 at +105 on under. So if you really like the under, I get in plus money at 7.5. I think that's a good play there. I think both of these pitchers should dominate. Neither lineup really scares me.
Not at all. And I'm also on the Twins money line there. I think they close out this series. The Blue Jays have actually lost, I believe it's 5 straight playoff games now. They were swept last year in 2 games, swept the season, not 2 seasons before that in 2020 in 2 games. So their last 2 playoff appearances, they lost 4 straight. And obviously the game before that, they were knocked out. So it's actually 6 straight postseason games that they've lost now. None of their hitters are hot. So I like the Twins to win their first postseason series in 19 years here. But we'll go on to the next game now. We've got the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. So this is another tricky one, Jake. I really thought the Brewers were going to come out with a win yesterday, but the Diamondbacks, they're tough. They were fighting. They came back from down 3-0 and then took a lead late as well. Massive double play by Evan Longoria to keep the D-backs in the game. What do you got on this game, Jake?
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe an even overplay here because the Brewers left so many runners on base throughout the game. And then I was thinking Brewers, but I just don't trust them. So I stayed off this game completely. I mean, the Brewers just blew that game yesterday. They had so many opportunities to win. I faded Brandon Pfaadt, which was the correct move, but Arizona just outlasted them, and they made the right moves in the bullpen while Milwaukee didn't. That was the big thing.
Yeah, good pronunciation of Brandon Pfaadt, is it? Because I've not been getting that right for a while now.
Yeah,
so thank you for letting me know there.
That's what they were saying on the broadcast yesterday, so that's what I'm going with.
That's good to know. But also, since he pitched yesterday, the D-backs kind of took a chance, but now they have their ace and Zach Gallen going today, their second best pitcher in Merrill Kelly going tomorrow. So they definitely have the advantage in this series, especially with Brandon Woodruff's injury. Freddie Peralta is going to go today for the Brewers. Wade Miley would likely go tomorrow if it gets there. But I'm on the D-backs in the money line here. I think this plus money is just too good to pass up. The D-backs bullpen really impressed me yesterday. And then on the other side, the Brewers bullpen was the exact opposite. Devin Williams came in. He threw 30 pitches. He gave up multiple runs. So not only did he give up runs, but he's also gassed for today. I think Zach Gallen, this is actually Zach Gallen's playoff debut, but I think he's the type of pitcher that will come in and pitch well. And And then Freddie Peralta has actually pitched really well in the playoffs before, but he hasn't been gotten deep. I think he's only made one playoff start, and he went 4 innings and didn't allow a run, I believe, in like 57 pitches. But I didn't look into that. I'm not really sure why he came out. So I like the D-backs on the money line here. I just think that they close the series. And we can go to the last game then. So we got Phillies, Marlins. This was a fun game last night. We saw the Phillies home crowd rocking. I just love the Phillies here. I bet on them to win the series before this game. It's Aaron Nola against Braxton Garrett. Both Sandy Alcantara and Yuri Perez are out for the Marlins. They're top 2 starters. So that puts them at a disadvantage in the first place. They have Braxton Garrett going today. He allowed 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched both times he faced the Phillies this season. But I really don't think he's going to get deep in this game. I think the Marlins are going to go right to their bullpen again. And then the Phillies on the other side, like I said, I think they've lost 1 postseason game at home all last year. If that, they might have gone undefeated. I think they lost 1 game though. So we know that it's rocking there, and all 3 games are in Philly. I just think they come out and they put an end to it today. Aaron Nola has been a little iffy, but I think we can get over that. What do you think here, Jake?
Yeah, I definitely lean towards the Phillies here. I've been back and forth on when I play or not. I'm definitely leaning towards playing it. I like the Phillies here for everything you just said.
All right, we'll go into some player props now. So we've got some color-coded player props. I believe I'm red and Jake's blue. We can go and get into these a little bit. We've got 5 minutes or so here, and then we'll give you our prize picks play and throw up a recap screen. So I guess we'll go by game. And then we'll go by color. So Jake, you want to go first in Rangers and Rays since you're blue?
Yeah. So Rangers Rays, I like Randy Rosarena over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Yesterday, I saw John tweet that his mom got a visa, and that was the first MLB game she's ever seen him play. So I immediately hit this yesterday, and he went single, double in his first 2 at bats. I like the matchup against Eovaldi here for him, and I like that. And speaking of Eovaldi, I like over 3.5 Ks. You get a -150 on BetMGM. I just think that number is pretty low. He strikes out a lot of guys, gives up a lot of hard contact lately. I still think he gets both. He strikes out at least 4 and gives up at least 4 hits. And then Taylor Walls under half a base, +120 on Bet Rivers. This is a law of averages here. Taylor Walls had 2 hits yesterday. He's like a 200 career hitter. So I think he has 0 for today.
Yeah, and as if playoff Randy needed any more boost. I mean, we know that he turns into a completely different player in the playoffs, let alone his mom being in the stands watching his first game in the MLB. So, I mean, the second I saw that, I agree with you. I was like, all right, I've got to add Randy into something here. So I agree. I think he continues that. My favorite prop here is Josh Jung under 0.5 total bases. It's +115 on DraftKings. My guess is it's starting to move. He has really struggled. I mean, I believe he's 2 for his last 16, 17. I didn't even add it up because it looked so bad. He's hitless in like 4 of his last 6 games, something like that. But it's more about his bat path and his swing than I saw yesterday. He was swinging at pitches not even close to the zone. He was guessing the entire time. A lot of pitches missing. So Zach Eflin is a strikeout pitcher as well. He's pitched in the playoffs. He knows how to get outs. So Josh Jung, he used to bat in the middle of the lineup, right? And he was moved down to, I believe it's 8th now for a reason. So I really like that under total basis. He should only get 3-4 at bats max as well.
And we're also talking about Evan Carter. We don't mind an Evan Carter prop here as well, especially with his playoff debut for a 21-year-old, 2 hits, 2 walks, but 2 doubles. So I don't mind him to score a run here if you get that shop around on the best price. But Evan Carter looked really good and really poised.
Yeah, Jake and I were talking about that. I mean, this kid's super young and he's got one of the best eyes in the league. They call him Mr. Full Count because he gets into a full count essentially every time he goes up to bat. So that's good. But we'll go into the Blue Jays Twins here. I'm the only one talking for this one. I got 3 props. Royce Lewis over 0.5 walks, +180. I love this one, guys. Royce Lewis hit 2 home runs yesterday. He was the only one that produced RBIs against the Blue Jays. There is no way that they try him today. I mean, yeah, if there's no one on base, then they'll pitch to him. They have to. But if there's a base open, they will definitely walk him. And I think even if there's no one on base, they'll try to pitch around him because he was the only one that did damage. So I really like that one. And then the other two, Dalton Varsho and Matt Wallner, both under 0.5 total bases. So if you guys follow me, this is a play that I really like to make, is on these players that I think will get pinch hit for. Both these players were pinch hit for yesterday. So I really only think they're going to get 2 to 3 at bats, batting at the very bottom of the lineup before they get pinch hit for. So if we're thinking about the odds, we take out an at bat of what these odds makers are calculating for these lines, then we're going to get some good value on these players. Then we'll go to the next game, D-backs Brewers. Corbin Carroll, pretty straightforward. He had 2 runs, 2 hits yesterday. He did not look like a rookie, and he's the catalyst for that lineup. I think it's great value at -135 for his hits, runs, RBIs. And then Marlins, Phillies. Jake and I are actually on the same play here, under 0.5 total bases. So, Jake, I'll let you explain that one.
Yeah, it looks like I got a little better price right here at +100. You got -110.
You beat me.
But I played this yesterday, and of course he got a hit. But I don't see him getting a hit in back-to-back playoff games. I do think he might only get 1 at bat here. He could be a late defensive sub here. So I really like this play, especially at +100. And going to Trey Turner, I played him over half a run on Prize Picks, which I like, which ties into your play right here.
Yep. So we both think he's going to get on base today. And if we saw Trey yesterday, he had 2 hits. He stole 2 bases. He's stolen 32 straight bases this season without getting caught. So, and 2 of them were against lefties yesterday as well. So I love this value at +265. I think if he gets on base, he's going to steal. It's also big because Bryce Harper isn't batting behind him against the lefty. So teams won't be inclined to walk Harper if he gets on second. So with Baum batting behind him, then he's kind of free to steal in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll go on to our Prize Picks play now, and then we'll throw up the recap screen for y'all. So our Prize Picks play here essentially is a lot of just our props put together. But Jake picked 3 squares and I picked 3 squares. And we essentially talked about them already. Yeah, Jake, we've got Randy Arozarena over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We told you why we really like that one. Corbin Carroll over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. I just explained that one as well. He's the catalyst in the middle of that lineup. Matt Wallner. And then Christian Patchy is the same idea as Matt Wallner. They're both going to be pitch hit for at some point. Christian Patchy is facing Braxton Garrett, the lefty. I think he's only going to get 1 at bat before he gets pinch hit for, because they're going to bring in a righty very soon, and they're likely going to bring in Brandon Marsh to face that righty, just like they did yesterday. So I love the Patchy under. Jake, you talked about the Nathan Eovaldi hits at 4. Not really sure why it's so low, because he's likely going to stay in the game for at least 4 or 5 innings. And I agree with you. That's pretty low. And then Taylor Walls, as you mentioned, law of averages. I agree with you. I just don't think he gets that many hits.
Yeah, I like all those. I also played Barry in another slip. I played Barrios and Sonny Gray over 9.5 combined Ks, and Trey Turner over half a run. So I like all those.
Yeah, I like both of those as well. But other than that, we'll throw up our recap slide so y'all can take a screenshot of this, take it home if you want. But we put our futures plays there. We've got the +290 for the Orioles there, so y'all can actually see that. Nice color coded. Thanks for Mackenzie for producing this, if you're back there behind the scenes. And then we've got our games here. So the futures, my picks, Diamondbacks on the money line +115, Phillies on the money line -148, Jays, Twins under 8. Jake's got for the games Rays on the money line and Blue Jays, Twins under 8 -115. And then our props, I got Trey Turner to steal a base +265, Christian Patchy under 0.5 total bases -110, Carroll over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, Royce Lewis over 0.5 walks, Dalton Varsho under 0.5 total bases, Matt Wallner under 0.5 total bases, and Josh Young under -0.5 total bases. A theme going on there. And then Jake, we got Patchy under 0.5 total bases, Arozarena over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, Eovaldi over 3.5 Ks, and then Taylor Walls under 0.5 total bases. So we really appreciate y'all tuning in. The MLB takeover is officially over, but we've still got games today to watch and a bunch of games tomorrow. So if you guys have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out to any of us on Twitter. We're always here to answer your questions and help. Inside the Lines will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I believe we're going over some football tomorrow. So thank you all for tuning in, and we really appreciate it.